You are very welcome to this webinar today. And the topic of our session is Moodle 3.8 new features. So I'm gonna introduce myself. So this is me. My name is Vaida Gulhan. I'm an e-learning consultant here at Enovation, and I'm sharing my contact details here, but I'm also gonna share them at the end of our session. So if you need to get in touch for anything, if you have any questions or comments or would like to get some further information, do not hesitate to get in touch. The plan for today is to cover some background of Enovation and what we do and what services we offer, then talk about why it is important to upgrade and present highlight features from Moodle 3.5 to 3.7, also highlights for 3.8, obviously that's the topic of today, and a short overview of what's coming next in 3.9. So we will have some time for questions and answers at the end of the webinar. So you are welcome to type them in the chat box area, and hopefully I will be able to answer your questions. Okay, so just a few words about Enovation. We are a technology company with over 300 customers worldwide, and we have offices in Ireland, France, Poland, and US. So we have ISO 27001 certification, which proves that security is very important to us, and it's an official recognition for what we do. We mainly specialize in kind of open source products. So these would be Moodle. Then recently we kind of released Moodle Workplace as well as Totara, and we have our own product, Aura Talent, that focuses mainly on career development and succession planning. So kind of dealing with the careers and competencies and hierarchies within the companies. So from talking about the services that we offer, first of all, we offer consultancy. So we review the client's requirement and we see, what solution would best fit the needs. We also offer various hosting options. So it could be hosting in our servers or remote hosting. Really, that all comes down to the requirement and the client's needs. We offer services such as training for all the platforms that we host. So training usually is fit to the client's needs, and kind of we are taking each case by case and seeing how would you like to use the platform, and we are showing you how to use it in the best possible way, so sharing best practice approaches. Sometimes core functionality in the system is not enough, and for that we have a development team, and we can develop additional features that you might be looking for. And we can also assist you in creating content. So we have an instructional design team here at Enovation, and we also have a ticketing system, and we offer support. So you can raise a query, and we'll get back to you within the next 24 hours also. Okay, so why is it important to upgrade? So it is not a secret, as with all the software, it is important to upgrade because of security reasons. And in addition to that, Moodle also offers new features or feature enhancements with every version that is released. So the current latest version is Moodle 3.8, and it has security patches till 10th of May 2021. So still quite a bit of time. that they are covered, and we are looking forward to the release of 3.9, which is going to be the long-term support version that's going to be released in May. And I'm going to give you a short overview of features from 3.5 to 3.8, just to give you an idea of kind of the amount of features that is constantly improved, because the product is being developed all the time, and depending on the needs of the community, it's constantly changing and introducing additional features. So this is a little table that I have done, and I actually couldn't even fit into one slide. So there is a full kind of list of it. It is split into features for administrators, features for teachers, and features for all users. So don't be worrying, we're not gonna cover all of this today. But if you are interested, you can get in touch, and I can share. Excuse me, I can share this table with you. Just to have kind of an overview of how many new features I introduce with each version. Sometimes it's good to have it and handy to have it in one place. But we will cover some highlights. So highlights coming from 3.5 to 3.7, we just picked kind of the most relevant that we thought features, and sorry, just one sec. And that we think the most maybe user friendly and would have the most impact. So coming from say Moodle 3.5, GDPR was a big one in 3.5, because previously GDPR policies were kind of used with the help of the plugin, but then in 3.5 it became the core. So things like that. And then say from 3.5 it is already possible to set up a recording of the video or audio. So that's very, very simple. You can go directly to an area that has an auto editor, and basically if you click on little icon for start recording an audio or start recording a video, you can just start recording, and then if you are happy with what you have created, you can attach the recording. Excuse me. So that's very handy, and also offers a way to reach out to students that is more than text-based, and it's just more personal. So this can be used in cases where a new class is set up, and you can ask the students to introduce themselves with the help of the video. So if they haven't met in life, that's good way for making it more personal. Course overview in 3.5 looks as follows. So timeline was introduced, and you can see that some courses are in progress, and a learner can navigate through future courses or past courses. So past courses would be courses that they have already completed or that have a due date in the past. So it's handy because they can see the progress, but you will see how the course overview evolved, because I'm going to show you many more kind of features that were introduced in 3.6 and also 3.8. GDPR that we mentioned earlier allows you to set up site policies, and with the help of this feature you can keep track of the versions of the policies, and also data protection officer or site administrator will be able to check user agreements and who has agreed to what version of the policy and filter out that data. In case you have minors on the site, agreement can be made on behalf of the parents. So really it again, it depends on the use case for the site that you have and how you are willing to implement that, but it's just handy to have it in one place and being able to manage it from within. In Moodle 3.6, additional features were added to the dashboard, and also group messaging was introduced, and learners can star or remove courses from the view. So dashboard, I think, is an excellent feature in 3.6, and it allows for the card view. So in this image, you can see the card view, and it shows the learner all the courses that they are enrolled in, and also it shows the progress that they have made in that course. Now, as site administrator, you can allow the card view, but you can also choose to use the summary view, or both for that matter. So it really depends on how you would like your users to use the site. But for example, I prefer summary view because summary view shows the progress in kind of a line, and also it displays the course description. Whereas in the card view, the course description wasn't showing. Then there is additional functionality for a course to have an image, and I think images really make this course images make this site come to life, and maybe concisely tell the learner what the course is about. And this can also be used, using some branding for the courses that are accredited by certain bodies, or your own personal branding, and stuff like that. So it just makes the look and feel of the site more livelier and more engaging for the learner. So in addition to that, in the course overview, students can also star courses and hide courses from view. So starting courses is interesting. In a case where a learner is enrolled maybe in 5 courses, might not be an issue. But if there are numerous courses on your site, and sometimes they could have up to 70 courses, or even a huge number of courses, it is good to allow the user to star courses, because they can focus on the courses that they, for example, want to complete within the next month, and that allows them to move to the courses that they want to focus on easier, because they can filter by the starred courses, or hidden from view if the courses are not applicable to learners and they never want to see them again, or maybe they are excelling in that area, they can just hide them, and that's never gonna show up. Then group messaging was introduced in 3.6 also, and that allows the trainer, when setting up groups within the course, to say if group messaging is going to be allowed or not. So this kind of configuration option here, I was struggling with this myself, because the way when you are setting up the course, and you can set up the groups, and you can force the groups. So I thought that's automatic, but actually when you force the group mode, you still have to, when creating the group, you have to allow the messaging to happen. And then in this way, learners can email within the group. And what it is useful for is, for example, when you have some project work, then each group is working on a separate project. This allows the group members to get in touch without other members of the class knowing what they are working on. So it kind of offers that additional type of separation. In general, messaging underwent significant improvements in 3.6 in a way that my personal favorite is, say, to have a personal space for notes and drafts. So, you don't have to keep your notes anywhere else. People like to keep it in an email, or I don't know, in Word documents or something like that. It just helps you to have notes. If you're working on an assignment, it is handy to have everything in one area to refer back to, even if you're taking notes during your webinar, that would be a good feature. But it also offers stuff like a group digest email, so a short summary of what was discussed. And you can mute conversations if you don't want to get any more reminders or notifications from them. And teachers can delete messages for everyone in groups, or also teachers can respond privately to group messages. So lots of kind of options and notifications there. In 3.7, the major features that were introduced was learning analytics as well as course custom fields. We're going to cover learning analytics and course custom fields because they are kind of tying in with the features in 3.8. So I'm going to provide information on those later on. And Moodle 3.8 new features. So at a glance, these are the kind of highlights that we have selected to cover in today's session, and we're gonna cover those one by one. So session timeout is a big one, and as a site administrator, you can manage the duration of the timeout, and basically you can set it from 5 minutes to 4 hours depending on what you think is appropriate. And really what it does is a little message pops up for a learner to say that there is no recent activity and whether they would like to extend the session or are they happy to log out. And what it is used for is in cases where, say, students are typing in assignments directly into Moodle, or say they are working on the quiz activity that is kind of long and takes time to complete. So, you know, it's not like true and false questions that people kind of fly through. But in some cases, for example, our clients are using the quiz activity for translations, and translations are input in as an essay type of questions. And you know, for translations you kind of have to sit down and think about how you're going to word it and how you're going to structure it, so it takes time. And the session timeout function makes sure that your work is saved, so you cannot lose your work in case it times out and you know, it disappears off your screen. So very good new feature from learners as well as teachers' point of view. You know, if a teacher is setting up activities and then is midway through and then the session timed out without extending and they lose their work, it's unpleasant for everybody. Course custom fields were introduced in 3.7, and actually there was a possibility to use them in the course overview, and you could see if any course custom fields were assigned to the course. You can see the entry, but you couldn't actually filter out by those. And now there is a possibility to filter by custom fields in the course overview. So course custom fields can have different types. So they can be a checkbox, they can be date and time, drop-down menu, short text or text area. My favorite is drop-down menu, because that allows for the site administrator to define the options that different trainers can choose from when setting up a course. And really that eliminates the possibility of typos and errors, or people, you know, shortening stuff or including an ampersand instead of and. So it just allows to make the headings to be more uniform. And basically you can add the custom fields to your courses, and say as an example I use the topic area. So topic area could be, you know, say health and safety or compliance, cybersecurity. I'm choosing demo for this because I was using our demo site. So say if you have health and safety courses, but they are in different categories within the course, you can filter them out by the topic as well as the category. And again, that allows the users to find the courses that they are looking for, and you know, basically to find the content easier and say, yeah, show me anything for cybersecurity. This is something, you know, that's of importance to me now. So I want to look at the courses, and learners can just use the filter. So it's a very helpful feature. Then in H5P, interactive content integration, initial stage is in version 3.8. So you might be familiar with the plugin already, and if not, you can visit h5p.org, and basically lots of different functionality that can be used. Typically how our clients use it is have a plugin. So it's an additional plugin, and we can have that installed, and with the help of that plugin you can set up interactive activities, and very easy to set up, and kind of handy because it's very interactive, very colorful. You are in control and you can decide, do you give feedback, do you not give feedback, and learners can navigate their way around it. So just a really good tool. And basically without the plugin you can now use the auto editor and insert the H5P links directly. So as you can see from the screenshot here, this is the auto editor. You would just click on the H5P button and you can embed the code, or you can upload the H5P file and insert the H5P content. However, this integration is still, as it is in the initial phase, is limited, and it's not linking up to Gradebook, which will be improved and enhanced in the later reiterations and potentially in version 3.9. So my recommendation would still, if you want to use H5P content, if you are using the plugin, continue using the plugin, and wait for the next phase of this integration. Now, forums underwent significant improvements in 3.8, and basically, just to give you an idea of how it is evolving, we have version 3.6. So as you can see, it's like a separate email. There is a way to put in an attachment. In 3.7, already an inline responding was introduced, and you can respond directly and you can see, the comments above. However, in 3.7, I think it's the best, because basically you can see it in a nested table. And you can see the responses, you can see the initial thread. I really like that you can navigate directly to show parent. So, in a short discussion, where in an example here, when we have only 4 responses, it's not a big deal. It's very clear which is the parent, which is the thread that started this discussion. However, in discussions with, forums with a lot of learners, this could be intimidating, and you would have to scroll up and down a lot to find out what is actually being discussed here. So it's a very helpful feature to kind of remind yourself what's this all about. Discussions can be started. Discussions can be discussions can be started. Discussions can be pinned, and as well as locked. So in cases where the teacher says, okay, we are finished on this topic, they can lock the threads. But also a new feature that I'm really excited about is the split. So, for example, in the course of discussion, when a new topic is introduced by accident or on purpose, but when that constitutes some discussion that can be a standalone discussion, and huge points and huge insights can be shared on that, it can be split and become an independent discussion on its own. Also, the trainer can respond in person. So instead of responding to the whole group, they can just respond personally, which is, I guess, a really nice extra feature to have. is for people who love reports. I'm one of those people. A forum summary report is introduced. And basically what it does is you can get a summary report and you can see how many discussions were posted, how many replies were posted, how many attachments people have submitted. And also you can see things like how many times those posts were viewed. So you can really gauge the interactions, that happened on the site. And also you can even do things like word count. So have people just said, yeah, thank you, this is great, or have they actually put in an effort and put in the thought and contributed substantially? So really good way of kind of narrowing it down and finding out how your forums are doing, with an additional functionality and possibility to filter by earliest or most recent post. In addition to that, you can also export the threads that learners have created, and you can send a message through the summary report. Also, you can download a single learner's contribution, or you can download all of the forum threads. So these can also be filtered. This can be filtered by date. So I guess this is handy for courses that are long, and say when a course starts in September and it's continuing till May, and you only want to see the forum posts that were created in the second semester, you can just say, yeah, show me courses, show me all the announcements that started in January, and that is gonna pick only on the data that was relevant from January. If you are allowing users to be split into groups and to have group discussions, you can also filter out discussions by groups. So, that's again handy to see which group was more engaged than the other and how they contributed to the forum activities. This screenshot just shows you an example of how you can export user one by one, and I love the way Moodle makes it easier for you, and it says even remove HTML. If you don't click on that, kind of the thread in the message comes in with the HTML like tags and stuff, but if you don't want to see it and you just want to see the humanly readable context, you can just click on that, and it's gonna present a very concise, just basically the text that was presented. So really handy. Additional feature for forums is grading. So grading can now become activity completion criteria. So you can say that a grade to pass is required, as you could have done for, say, the assignments. And as the teacher, when you access the forum activity, you can click on grade users, and then you can navigate back and forth as to which user you are willing to grade. In addition to that, not only can you grade the users, but you can also use rubrics. So you might be aware that rubrics you could set up and use for assignment activity, but now you can use this for forum activity. And I think it helps to make the grading, I guess, easier and more streamlined and more objective. And you can just say, okay, this is not a bad post, but it needs improvement, and the description was quite excellent actually, and then the grade is inputted automatically. You can provide additional feedback, and happy days. The grade is directly linked to gradebook. So this is just a really excellent tool to kind of encourage the interaction, to encourage knowledge sharing between the learners. And forum activity is not only can it be used for chatting about the topic. Some clients of ours are using it in preparations for presentations, and they put in and say, okay, I'm going to talk about this subject, does that sound of interest, and what would you like to see more of? And then they get the feedback from peers, and then they can review their plan, and they have what they have kind of initially envisaged of discussing, and change it accordingly to the recommendations from the peers as well as trainers. So forum is very, very powerful tool, and I think the possibility of grading it is going to be kind of probably the activity is going to be used more often. Okay, relative dates was something our clients were also looking forward to, and this is kind of an experimental stage of the relative dates in the courses, and how it works and what it is relevant to. So basically, when you are setting up a course, excuse me, when you are setting up a course and you are indicating the start date, then if you are choosing the weekly format, you could have the weekly format from the day that the course started. However, when the learner is enrolled next month, for example, or even next year, they will have the dates in the weekly format that is relevant for them. So basically, a week from first week will be the week from their enrollment, second week will be the week from their enrollment, and so on and so forth. So that's really handy, and the dates of the assignments also change. So this is useful for Moodle sites that have a rolling enrollment, and in academic environment, usually courses start at the same time. Say everybody starts on the 1st of September, everybody is enrolled at the same time, and the assignment submission dates are the same. However, the relative dates will allow for cases when you are, enrolled differently, maybe at different intervals, and depending on when you join the company, say, so that can change the relative dates for assignment submissions, or for the weekly format can change. And this is really handy because you don't have to individually edit it for particular user. Learning analytics, as mentioned previously, was introduced in 3.7. In 3.8, 2 new models were added, so let's have a look at those. So basically, in general, learning analytics is just a way for you to kind of set the criteria, set the targets, set the indicators that you are going to be testing by, and then choosing the context, choosing the interval of time, and getting the information that you are interested in. So potentially really widely used models will be students at risk of dropping out, students who have not accessed the course yet, or students who have not accessed the course recently. And basically the way it works is you can set up the models, and they come in pre-populated. Several models are already available in Moodle 3.8, and then you can pick the indicators. There's quite a few indicators on the screen, so I'm not sure if you would like to have as many, but you can pick and choose, and you can make it your own. So there is a difference between cognitive and social. So for example, if chat cognitive, so are you looking for the chat, have they engaged with the chat, have they actually contributed, or chat social, they had just gone in and had a look at it, so they actually didn't contribute. So really, it's up to you, what's important to you, what are you trying to find out, and what for you defines a learner who is at the risk of dropping out. Then when this is defined, when indicators are defined, then you can indicate the intervals that you are interested in kind of getting that search for, or getting that criteria for, and then you can indicate the context. And the context can be a single course or multiple courses, or it can also be a course category. And basically, at the end, you get the report, and students who have not accessed the course recently, for example, you can see a list of students who haven't been engaging with the course. If you hover on the graph area, you can, at a click of a button, you can see that no completions have been made, no progress has been made, and you can just send a message and give the learner a little nudge and say, hey, I noticed you haven't been engaging with the course. Is there a problem? Is there any way I can assist you? And have that conversation and engage and encourage to kind of log in and do the work. So I hope you like the forums. And moving on, basically you can create, if you are using question banks, you can indicate now in the question banks ID numbers and tags for questions. So basically, you can indicate those areas when you are setting up the questions. And again, it allows you to categorize them. It allows you to basically put in, again, similar to maybe topic areas or what's being tested or levels of knowledge that are expected. So as an example, I just set up a few questions, and I want to say, okay, capitals, and if I have a geography quiz and I want to include several questions on capitals, I can just say, okay, is this the area I'm looking for? And you can just simply, at a click of a button, exactly know what questions to pull in into the quiz. So it really helps with a kind of systematic approach to question bank, and allows you to pull those questions easier and at a click of a button without having to kind of actually click into the question and see what it is about. Okay, additional feature that nothing major, but I quite like it. So these are course card colors, and I have picked two examples, so green and blue, and these can be aligned to your branding. Any course that doesn't have an image is going to have course card color that you have picked, and as site administrator you can pick it very easily with a color picker. And emojis. Emojis were introduced in 3.8, so in the auto editor you can very easily add them on, and you can express the emotions now freely with the help of this new functionality. Okay, so what's next in Moodle 3.9? Let's have a look. So basically, Moodle User Association is working on two major projects that are going to be introduced in 3.9. So course copy interface and participants page filter. Course copy interface is an interesting one. It's mainly for site administrators, and basically it will be used instead of backup and restore. So it's just going to be an easier way to copy a course and activities within the course, and basically will eliminate the possibility of having backup files that clog up the system and take up a lot of space. So it's just going to be a more streamlined process. Page participants filter will allow you to kind of filter out participants in groups, and you will be able to put in logic around it. If it's in that group, if the learner is in that group but not member of the other group, or member of additional group, or has a certain profile field area, you will be or data, you will be able to sift through that. Then, as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be further improvements to H5P. So that it will include an integration with gradebook, further improvements to relative dates that we spoke about, improved safe exam browser is an interesting one because with the help of this functionality, learners who are sitting an exam will not be able to navigate to, say, an internet browser and Google the answers. So that's going to block it, and even it's going to allow to restrict the applications within the PC that the learner can use. So say you might allow them to use the calculator, but you might not allow them to use Excel. So things like that can be set up with the use of the Safe Exam browser. And yeah, I think probably, hopefully that's enough. I hope I presented a good overview of the improvements coming from 3.5 to 3.8, and you can have a good idea of what's new. So if you have any questions, let me know. Other few kind of features I wanted to talk to you about, which are plugins. So one of them is Intelllboard, and it allows you to see into the kind of LMS. It's like a window into your LMS. So it offers a lot of reports, a lot of monitors, different dashboards for the learners, different dashboards for trainers, and you can pick and choose reports. You can pick and choose kind of columns that are appearing in them and export the data. So if you are interested in this plugin, get in touch and we can set up a free demo for you. And also BigBlueButton. BigBlueButton is a web conferencing tool that allows learners to set up web conferencing and have the sessions, you record the sessions, have the poll activities, have whiteboards. So even users can be split into groups within the BigBlueButton activities. So lots and lots of functionality there. The webinars can be recorded and then posted on Moodle sites. So really handy tool, especially I think with everything that's maybe going on in the world. So a good to have feature. And also you might be interested to know we have a Moodle Educator certification course. So that is actually being kind of reviewed and revamped at the moment, and the new revised version is going to be available in April. And this is a competency based Moodle training offering, focusing on 22 main digital competences, and allows you to get a certificate that is accredited by Moodle headquarters. So if you are interested in taking up this training, do not hesitate to get in touch. And thank you for your time. I hope it was useful, and if you have any questions, please put them in the chat area. Alternatively, if it's easier to reach out by email or phone, get in touch with me, and happy to discuss this further. Okay, there is a question and somebody is asking what does MUA stand for, and this is Moodle Users Association. So basically it's an association of developers and community that help to kind of streamline the project and focus on areas. As you can imagine, with the community worldwide, there are different types of priorities, and some people say, oh, I would like this feature, and other people would like additional features in a different area. So Moodle User Association systematizes and prioritizes the kind of requests that the users have and focuses their approach for developing a more streamlined and better Moodle. I'm hearing that there was an issue with kind of voice and the patchy kind of internet connection, so apologies about that. If you would like, we can share the slides because they're kind of self-explanatory and have a lot in there, and we will be posting the video on YouTube later on also. So if that's of interest, you can review it again, and hopefully the sound quality will be better on that. Apologies for that. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat area. So once again, thank you all for attending, and have a good rest of the week, and stay safe, and look forward to hearing from you.